Yeah, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I remind you this every other week. Listen to those 5Q tape breakdowns. It's a great way to learn from other people's mistakes and successes. So last week was when an advisor asked, what kind of advisor would I be? Did he get the answer he was looking for? So remember, all of our non-financial items we need to ask that. And it's a great way to move forward with getting them to leave the current advisor. So make sure you listen to that. Also, we've had some requests for this. So Missy, can you kind of let people know how we've added some things to the website?
Sure, I sure will. Yeah, we've had a few requests over the last few months about the walk down memory lane issues, and would it be possible for us to archive those? And so we've gone through and pulled out, and for those of you that may or may not recall, the walk down memory lane is actually part of the monthly epidemic marketing newsletter. You put the walk down memory lane with the newsletter and the checklist, and we just kind of at random place one of the years in there. And so we have now archived them. They can be used for lots of different purposes in addition to just the monthly newsletters. And so one of the more recent ones that I think is a great idea is, as a new client comes on board, they send them a personalized little handwritten thank you note, and the issue of their birth year as just kind of a, hey, what happened on the day that you were born, or on the year that you were born. And so we have gone through and added all of the issues by year to the website. They can be found in a couple of different places. The first place is down on the low cost marketing. On your screen, you can see it's in the non-USP aligned system, so kind of on the bottom half of that low cost marketing page. And it's just referred to as the walk down memory lane issues. We've also located them underneath the epidemic marketing page, which is again part of the monthly newsletter. So yeah, just you can be creative. There's lots of different ways that you can utilize these. I know we had them in our in a booklet in our waiting room as people came in and were kind of just thumbing through, killing a little bit of time before their appointment. It's just kind of fun to look at the different years and what things were cost and what things happened in those years. So now they're now available to have as archives, and so go out there and look for them if that's what interests you.
So thank you, Missy and Tricia, for doing that. Because a lot of guys had already come up with those ideas and were wondering if they could get access. So that's an awesome thing that we've added to the website. Guys, I just want to do a reminder here. What's happened for these that manage money? What's happening to fees? Going up or going down? The fees that you can charge people. Going up or going down? I think we all know they're what? Going down. And why are they going down? Because what is every Kiplinger's, every Wall Street Journal, every podcast, they're telling people they should be paying more fees or they should be paying less fees? Everybody's telling them they should be paying less fees. On my Instagram account, I'm getting hit all the time now with fee advertisements. One of them is an entity that now just charges people a one-time fee, and they get access to CFPs. So it's not a one-time fee; it's a one-time charge. It's I think they charge like $2,500, and then you get a year, and you get access to a CFP anytime that you want. And guys, how many of us? I mean, that means for somebody's charging 1% a year. For somebody charging 1% a year, what would $2,500 equal? What kind of size account would they have to equal 2,500? Yep, 250K. 250K. So not a lot of us are going to want to survive on a $250,000 account. So anybody with more than that, they're getting a great deal on this, right? So these kind of things are happening all the time. And should we hide? So fees are going down. Should we hide fees? Should we be ashamed of our fees? No. So first of all, how do we validate our fees? We do it in two different ways. One is, do we only sell them investments, or do we cover 21 things, and of which 7 or 8 of them are non-financial, we don't get paid for? Yes, we do. So we do lots of things besides just their investments. Even so, you better make sure your money manager's fees are fair, and make sure you cover fees within the FIA. Now, here's the thing. What can you show people? If you got half the money in an FIA and half the money in a money market account, in a money manager account, so half your money in an FIA, half in a money manager account, you still are paying what? I mean, you still have all of their assets, but are they paying an ongoing fee structure on 100% of their assets, or only on 50%? Only on 50%, right, Mark? So you're able to, if you're charging a 1% fee now, Mark, you could say you're actually charging what percent fee? Yeah, 0.5%. So because of the 21-point checklist, you are able to charge more than everybody else out there and make more than everybody else out there, both on your money management fee and on your FIAs. Because with FIAs, you don't get a money management fee. You get what? You get paid 7 years in advance if you're selling a 7-year surrender charge. 7 years in advance, and at the end, and many of you have found, what can you do 7 years down the road? Make it all over again. And I have a spreadsheet. I have the proof that, guys, if you do an FIA, get paid up front, it has a reasonable rate of return of, say, 5%. So even as low as 5% a year, when it renews 5 years from now, resell it again, guess who's going to make more money? The person who's just doing money management, or the person who did an FIA and then found a better FIA? Because these products are getting better and better and better all the time. A better FIA 7 years from now, who's going to make more money? The money manager growing at, say, 8%, or the FIA growing at 5%? Who do you think would make more as you, the advisor? If you have a money management account making 8, or an FIA making 5, and then you renewed it 7 years from now, who would make the most money over the next 10 years? Well, I'll tell you, the guy selling the FIA. So you're not hurting yourself in the money management in your pocketbook by putting half the money in an FIA. You're actually increasing your income. You're protecting yourself from them leaving because your fees are too high. And should you be covering this? Should you be, again, hiding? Oops. I want to get to a different thing. Hiding it or telling people about your fee structure? Should you be hiding it or telling? You got to tell people about it. Tell, because then who controls the story if you tell them? Kiplinger's, the Wall Street Journal, these podcasts, their Instagram account, you control the story. And when you control the story, you can point out that they're getting a lot more than just money management by working with you. Your money management fee, when you divide it by 50%, or whatever you have, whatever percent you have in FIAs, is a lot fairer than people who are charging on the whole kit and caboodle. And when you go through the FIA fee, they find out that's the most efficient way, the most fair way to charge fees. Let's see. And Mark says they like that. Often you say you're doing a lot of work and deserve to get paid. Well, again, we absolutely. So we are doing a lot of work, and we deserve. They say we're doing a lot of work and deserve to get paid. But a lot of times that's word candy, and we just want to make sure they actually remember that. So when they say that, they remember that. Problem is, 6 months from now, somebody pointed out to them, what would they have forgotten? So what do we have to do every annual review? What do we do every annual review? We review the 21-point checklist system to remind them we're doing a lot more than just that. Remind them about the fees. Remind them about the fees. That's right, Mark. Review the 21. That reminds them about what we're doing, all the work we're doing. I would remind them about the fees so they know that you're not just paying fees on, you're managing their whole account and you're only paying fees on a portion of it. Because remember, guys, I was a registered investment advisor. how much money, so see, here's a little trip down memory lane. See how many of you remember this. How much money did I have under management? As an RIA, how much money did I have under management? Guys, remember, I was making $1 million a year. So how much money was I bringing in on a yearly basis? And how much money did I have under management? None. Because I would show them the FIA, and then I would say, now on your, so this is our guaranteed money that's going to perform extremely well. We do need to have some money in equities, but here's the thing: I don't feel comfortable when the S&P 500 has beaten every money management entity out there, every hedge fund manager out there. I don't feel fair charging a fee for that. Let's put that money into the S&P 500 or into a small cap, medium cap S&P 500, and I don't feel comfortable paying, charging for that. You get that for free. Management-wise, and we'll put the rest in an FIA. So I put 20-30% into the, and don't get paid on 20-30%, but I would get paid on the 70-80%. And how many of you would be okay with making $1 million a year, but not making any money management fees? Because when the market went down, were my clients concerned? When the market went down in 2000, got clobbered, when the market got crushed in 2000, how many of my clients were upset when only 20 or 30% of their money was in the market? How many clients did I lose? None. Zero. Zippo. How much did it hurt my bottom line? None. Zero. Zippo. Because guess what? All those clients that only had 20, 30% in the market when it crashed, guess what they did? The year I quit marketing, and I did not do a single marketing event, I made $350,000 from referrals only. Guess what year that was? 2001. Why do you think I made $350,000 in referrals in 2001 without doing a stitch of marketing? It was all referrals. Why do you think in 2001 I made that money? What did all my clients that virtually lost very, very little money do? They referred their family, they referred their friends, etc. Missy and I actually had to turn. We could have made more than $350,000. We were turning people away because we were trying to get into the full-time coaching business. So, guys, please cover fees. Make sure people understand on an annual basis in your annual review that you're doing a lot more than just managing their money by reviewing the non-financial. You make sure that when you talk about money management fees, and please do talk about them. You talk about them in a manner where you're talking about both the money management and the FIAs, and so it's going to be a much less cost. And then you're going to make sure when you go to the FIA that they understand the fees that they pay with the FIA are the fairest way possible. And do we tell them that paying the way we pay fees on FIA is the fairest way possible, or do they tell us? We don't tell them a single thing. They tell us. They tell us that an FIA is way more liquid than a money manager. It's the fees are way more fair than a money manager. The way you make money on they make money. Their returns are much better on an FIA than a money manager because they'd rather make less but have it guaranteed. So these are all things that please do, because if you don't do this, you're going to die a death of 1,000 cuts, because there ain't no way fees are going up. And there's no way that all these entities, Kiplinger Magazine, Wall Street Journal, all these podcasts are going to start talking about fees less. They're going to talk about it more and more and more. Make sense? Cool. So we're in December now. One of the things I would highly recommend you do is go back and read How to Win Friends and Influence People. Again, I've probably worn out 10 copies, worn them out where the binding fell apart in the last 40 years, because I read this thing over and over and over. Why? Because I'm not very friendly. I'm not very likable. And the only thing that makes me friendly and likable is by reading this book, because innately, I am not a likable person. So I have to read this book constantly to remind me to keep my skills sharp so that I can go from somebody who's not innately a likable person to somebody who can at least still function in society. So please read this again. I'm going to go through some of the highlights, because How to Win Friends and Influence People is the reason people are successful with 5Q, and it's the reason I was able to create this system, because it's all based on this. So the thing is, you want to develop this is Dale Carnegie obviously wrote the book. He says, develop success from failures, discouragement, and failure. I'm sorry, develop success from failures and discouragement. What the heck? Why am I not reading this right? Develop success from failures, discouragement, and failure. Failure are two of the, wow, I don't know who put this together, but I'm getting all confused in this. Failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. So discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. Basically, I know this is all kind of discombobulated, but what they're saying here is what? When we fail, that's the reason I created 5Q, right? I failed and failed and failed. For 8 years, I made 50 grand. Failed. That's a lot of failure until I finally used that failure. In fact, there was a study done with billionaires. There's a study done with billionaires, and what did they find all billionaires success? What is it they find all billionaires had, or not all, but the one characteristic that was shared by the most billionaires? What characteristic was shared by the most billionaires? That's right, Nick. They failed many times. Now, here's the funny thing about the failure. It's not just failing. They failed at the exact same thing. It's like I did. I failed at being a financial advisor over and over and over. If I failed as a financial advisor and then I opened up a laundromat and failed at a laundromat and then I bought a McDonald's and failed at McDonald's and I tried to become an actor and I failed at that, that's not how they become billionaires. They fail at the same thing. So they say, okay, I failed as a financial advisor. Well, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to try being a financial advisor a different way. Oh, I'm going to learn from those mistakes. Okay, then I'm going to try it again. I'm going to learn from those mistakes, try it again. So it's failing at the same entity and learning from those mistakes. Make sense? And that's how 5Q is. I didn't sit down and create an elegant 5Q system. No, the way it was created was that I listened to my tapes. I said, "Oh, that's broken. I need to fix it." Okay, I'm going to try this. Didn't work. Just going to try this. Didn't work. Oh, I tried this and it worked perfectly. Okay, I got that thing fixed. Now I'm going to go on to the next thing that's not working. So 5Q is created not by me sitting down saying, I'm going to create this unbelievable system. No, 5Q is created by me listening to my tapes and fixing every single problem until there were no more problems. And that was great because I didn't then create the system. Who created the system that worked? If all I did was listen to my tapes and say, oh, that didn't work very well, I need to try something else. Oh, no, I finally figured out, oh, that works, now I can move to the next problem. Who was creating the system? All the people I sat down with, my clients, created the system by saying, this is, when you say this, Mike, I will act in your favor. When you say this, Mike, I will move forward. When you say this, Mike, I'll move all your money to you, or my money to you. So it was the clients that actually developed 5Q. That's why it works. That's why it closes 94% of people with all of their money, not some of their money, all their money, is because I didn't create it. The clients did. Make sense? So let's go through some of the highlights of how to win friends and influence people. So first of all, Dale Carnegie understood that every person I meet with is my superior in some way, in that I can learn something from them. So should we ever treat, and again, when I was making $50,000 a year, I said, Michelle, these people I'm meeting with are idiots. They're taking my information back to the current guy who caused all the problems in the first place. Was I acting in this way? If that's what I was telling Michelle and blaming my failure on the idiots I was sitting down with, was I acting this way? That every person I met with is my superior in some way and I can learn from them? No, I wasn't. I was saying, I'm smarter than these people. Why can't they listen to what Instead, when I sat down and started listening to my tapes and trying things that worked, was I learning from them? Yes, I was. Criticisms are like homing pigeons. They always return home. The one thing and I would write this down. I would write this down and put it in some place that you look at every single day. It's something I look at every single day, and I break every single day. But if I didn't look at it, I'd break it way more often because at least I catch myself. Do not criticize, condemn, or complain. The 3 C's. Do not criticize, condemn, or complain. Now, why? Guys, how much do you like to be around somebody who criticizes all the time? How much do you like to be around somebody who condemns all the time? How much do you like to be around somebody who complains all the time? The more you do those 3 things, the less people are going to like to be around you. So do you like to be around a Debbie Downer, or do you like to be around somebody who's upbeat and having a good time and and views the world in a upbeat way. Now, here's the thing. Here's a question for you. Are there some people that like to criticize and condemn and complain? And they like it, and they like to be around those people. Why? Because what do they all sit around and do? They all criticize, condemn, and complain. And I want to ask you this question. If they're doing that, how successful are those people generally? Because they're probably doing it where? Down at the local dive. They're complaining that the world is burning, the world is terrible, the world is screwed up, everything's horrible. I mean, everybody's out to get us. And guys, how successful are you going to be if that's the way you look at the world? I'll tell you, Missy, have we heard advisors like that are like that? Everything is terrible, the world is burning, the world is against us, and interest rates and companies and people and blah blah blah. Have we had advisors like that?
Absolutely.
Have any of them ever been in our top 10, top 25%, top 50%, top 75%, or are they always in the bottom what?
No, unfortunately, they're always at the bottom of the barrel.
And they blame the fact that they're at the bottom of the barrel, guys. Why? Because the world is against them. No. Why are they at the bottom of the barrel? Who in the world wants to be around them? And the other thing is, remember, because I used to do that when I was making $50,000 a year, I blamed the world. It wasn't until I started to blame who that I got better. Me. And here's the great thing. Can I fix the world? No. There's only one person I can fix. That's myself, right, Mark? That's myself. It requires a lot of introspection, as some people have pointed out. It also requires me to accept blame and that I'm not perfect and that I could be better. It requires me to accept responsibility for my failure, but it also allows me to have control over my success. That's right, Mark. Focus on what you can control, and you can only control yourself. So one of the things that, please, guys, don't do the 3 C's. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. I am the pot calling the kettle black because I do those three things on a daily basis, but I have it written in front of me, so I do them less. I would like to have every day where I do none of them, but please try to stick to that. Only knowledge that is used sticks in your mind. Remember, we talked about here a couple months ago. One of the guys said, "Mike, you cover all these ideas on the call. How am I supposed to do all those things?" That is an awesome observation, because you can't do all these things, but you should do what? One of them. Just find that one thing on a Monday morning call that you say, I can take action on that. That's the one I'm going to take action on, guys. And if we get better, 1% a week, you're going to be double better than what you were at the end of the year. Just 1% a week, you get double. Well, probably not double. You'll be at 50% better than you were. But guys, if you were 50% better, if your skills were 50% better in 25 than they will, or at the end of 24 than they were at the end of 23, how much more money will you make? Probably way more than 50% more money. So find that thing in the calls that you want to take action. Don't say, oh, those are great ideas. There's 10 great ideas. No. If I give you 10 great ideas, you should say, hey, that's one great idea. I'm going to do that one thing. Those other 9 things, oh, well, I don't have time for that. Just find the one thing you can actually do, okay? The rare individual who unselfishly serves others has an enormous advantage. Isn't that what we do with the 21-point checklist? Isn't this the definition of what the 21-point checklist is? Serving others, doing things that we do not get paid for. It's what sets us apart from every other advisor out there. The only way I can get you to do anything is by giving you what you want. And what does everybody want? What does everybody want when it comes to their lives? Do they ever want somebody to tell them they're wrong, or they always want to be what? Right. Everybody always wants to be right. Everybody always wants to be patted on the back. Everybody always wants to be told that they're better than average. What is the whole 5Q system? Validated, right. What is the whole 5Q system about? Dale says it's validating other people's opinions. It's letting them be the smart person in the room, not us. So again, is the 5Q system leveraging that the only way I can get you to do anything is by giving you what you want, and they want to be right. They want it to be their idea. They want it to be their idea, and that's what we do with 5Q. A person's name is the sweetest sound in any language. We all know that. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. How do we do this, guys? What tool do I give you that gives the other person a fine reputation to live up to? I've told you over and over and over, it's the most powerful tool we have. It can turn a meeting that has gone off the rails in the wrong direction, boom, within 2 minutes, you're back on track. It can take somebody who does not like you, boom, within 2 minutes, they love you. What is that tool? Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. What is that tool that I give you? It's part of APE. Which part of APE is this? What part of APE? What do we do when we empower somebody? We tell them they're what? They're above average. You're the head of the class. I've talked to probably 30 people in the last month. You're the only person that's given me the right answer. You give that person a fine reputation to live up to. And once when I empower somebody, even somebody doesn't like me, what happens? They like me. Even somebody, when the meeting's gone off the rails, they're all of a sudden it's back on the rails. Because when you tell somebody that they're above average, that they're head of the class, that, oh my gosh, I've asked 30 people this and you're the only person who got this right, guess what? They love it. Talk to someone about themselves and they'll listen for hours. And again, remember, any point that must be made should be made by them. How many points should we make in a 21-point checklist? How many points should we make in an FIA sales presentation? 0. Every point should be made by them. We should be asking them questions and they should be making the point. And I've talked about this before. I've listened to guys sitting down with little old ladies who were 78 years old, and the 21-point checklist went for 3 hours, and 78 years old. 3-hour financial meeting, and what were these ladies like at the end of that 3 hours? What were these ladies like at the end of 3 hours? Yeah, they were energized. They were ramped up. They were ready to go. They'd go another 3. Why? Why were they not exhausted at the end of 3 hours? Because for the first time in their life, somebody let them do the talking. Somebody let them listen to their ideas. Somebody validated the way that they thought, told them that they were smart, told them the way they thought was the right way to think. Well, guys, when you do that, people will listen for hours. The advisor might have been tired, but that client they were like, let's go for another 3 hours. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself. Again, that's the whole thing the 5Q system is about. Ask open-ended questions. Let them come to their own conclusion. They cannot trust a guy. Criticism is dangerous. It wounds their pride, sense of importance, and arouses resentment. Should we ever tell somebody they're wrong? Even if we're being kind, even if they tell us a piece of information that's wrong, do we tell them, no, that's not wrong? I mean, that's not right. That's wrong. What you said there is not the way that things work. Do we ever tell somebody they're wrong? No. We have tools that if they say they're wrong, say something that's wrong, for example, if somebody says their IRA goes through the will, is that right or wrong? If they say their IRA goes through the will, is that right or is that wrong? That's wrong. That's right. It's wrong. So am I going to tell them, well, Nick, that's not correct. Remember we said that you have beneficiaries. So the beneficiaries are where your IRA is going to go, and that overrules your will. Do I tell them they're wrong? That's wrong. Right on right. No, we don't tell them they're wrong. Instead, I'm going to say, so Nick, you say, well, the IRA is going to go through the will. I say, exactly, because and that's what I think too. Because the fact is we spent a lot of money with that with the attorney. We told them where we want our assets to go. It's right in there. We want it to go to our wife, and then we want it to go to, or Michelle, it goes to me, or we want it to go to the kids. And we spent all that money, that time, that effort, to go to the attorney and get that will done. Yeah, I would expect that everything would go through the will. I mean, that makes total sense. And instead, the world works in weird ways sometimes. Remember earlier we were talking about that story about that lady who married the bum, divorced him, then married a good guy, got her will done, got her trust done, spent that time, money, and effort on the attorney to get all her assets going to her kids, her new husband, her kid, and then she was unfortunately killed. And what did we say happened to her 401k? What did we say happened to our IRA? Oh, that's right. That's right. It went to the beneficiary. Oh, so that's right. Well, I guess the beneficiaries outweigh the. See, did I tell them they were wrong? Did I ever tell them they were wrong? Did I tell Nick that he was wrong about saying that the IRA went through the will? Did I tell him he was wrong? Yes or no? Y or N? No, I never did. But by the end of that conversation, is Nick back on track that the IRA does not go through the will? And did I tell him or did Nick tell me? Nick told me then that the IRA does not go through the will. See, that we don't ever want to tell somebody they're wrong. Now, if you follow the scripts, what's the likelihood you're going to end up in that problem? So you can either get really good at these skills that I did there, or you can use the scripts and then you don't have to deal with those things. But the point is, if we all make mistakes. If we do, and they say something wrong, don't tell them they're wrong. Tell them the way they're thinking is right, and then circle around and have them discover for themselves that what they said was wrong. Does that make sense? Now, the other thing is, with what I did right there, would Nick ever have put two and two together that he was wrong at the beginning? That 3 minutes ago he said something wrong. Would he put two and two together that what he said was wrong 3 minutes ago, or could we both pretend like he never said that wrong thing? Because I put some real estate between when he said it was wrong and when Nick discovered what was right, he never has to admit it's wrong. We have to pretend like he never said something wrong. We can all just go on and believe that Nick's a really smart guy and he didn't say anything wrong, because we put a lot of time between when he said the thing wrong and when he actually came to the correct conclusion. Does that make sense? Actions speak louder than words. So you can say you care about people, or you can actually care about people. How do we show people that we care about them? Because remember, if there's a mechanic on the left-hand side of the road and a mechanic on the right-hand side of the road, what am I worried about if I'm going to choose a mechanic? Am I worried about which one's going to be able to fix my car? No. Neither one of them would be in business if they could not fix a car. So what am I really concerned about when it comes to a mechanic? Which one cares more about me than making money? Which one is going to put my concerns above his own? So I'm not worried about which one can fix my car. I'm worried about which one's not going to screw me. So how do we show them that we care? We do the 7 non-financial things that save them time, effort, and tons of money, and we get paid what for that? Nothing. So our actions speak louder than our words. You can't win an argument, just like I went through there with because if I told Nick, well, no, your IRA will not go through the will. Guess what you're gonna? And I've heard tape after tape of guys making this mistake, and the client's going to continue to argue. And in fact, I'm a great example of that. I've been in arguments before where halfway through the argument, I realize that I'm wrong. What do? Admit that I'm wrong? I'm halfway through the argument and I realize that I'm wrong, and and let's just pretend that I'm, pardon my French, but arguing with a dick. not my wife. With my wife, I immediately admit that I'm wrong. But let's say I'm arguing with some jerk, and halfway through, I realize that I'm wrong. That's right. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to double down. And we don't want to ever get in that situation with a client. So when they say something wrong, we tell them they're right. We never get into an argument. The only way to win an argument is avoid it. Now, if you use our scripts, you'll avoid all sorts of arguments. If we make a mistake and they say something wrong, we tell them they're right. The way they're looking at the world is right, but then we ask them questions after that to have them come to their own conclusion about how things actually work correctly. We avoid that argument. Raise them above the herd. It gives them a feeling of nobility and admit to one's mistakes. First of all, that's what empowering is about, right? So a lot of these things come back to skill, not a new skill, but the same skill over and over and over again. Empowering is one of those skills that works for so many things. Success in dealing with people depends on a sympathetic grasp of the other person's point of view. So guys, when they give us an objection, what's the first thing that we do? Tell them they're right, or spend 3 to 5 minutes tell them they're wrong, or spend 3 to 5 minutes telling them they're right. And we spend 3 to 5 minutes telling them they're right. Success in dealing with people depends on a sympathetic grasp of the other person's point of view. So we tell them by looking at the way they're looking at the world, they're absolutely right. And then again, we ask them questions where they come back to the correct conclusion again. But we never tell somebody they're wrong. And guys, do we have a sympathetic grasp on the other person's point of view when we say, well, I used to feel the same way. And what I found is that a sympathetic grasp of the other person's point of view. Feel, felt, found. I used to feel the same way, but what I felt that was going to be the way things work. And what I found was blah, 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 blah. Is that sympathetic? No, that is not sympathetic to their point of view. Ask questions instead of giving orders. Isn't that what all 5Q is about? 3/4 of the people you meet are looking for understanding. Give it to them and they will love you. Isn't that what the 5Q system is all about? People are more likely to accept an order if they are part of a decision-making process. Isn't that what the 5Q system is about? So guys, here's the thing. The reason I make a million, and again, remember, I made $1 million a year back in 2000. How much would I make in today's world if doing the same thing, seeing the same people? Well, first of all, how much more money do people have in their accounts now than they used to have back 20 years, 25 years ago, 23 years ago? So I'd be making a lot more than $1 million a year just seeing the same people. So, but even if we use $1 million, how did I do that? I made the process a process that people made their own decisions. See, all these things are not who I am. So in real life, I don't have a lot of friends. In real life, I'm an irritable person. In real life, I don't do these things. That's why I have the 3 C's, don't criticize, condemn, or complain on front of me so that I cannot do that in real life. Because when I'm sitting with a client, do I ever criticize, condemn, or complain? Do I ever tell them, do I do any? No. I was able to make that money because I would park my personality. When I'd walk into the office, there's a little drawer that Missy would open for me. I'd park my personality in that door. She'd shut it, lock it, and while I was at the office, I would be the person who does all these things because I had a system to make sure I did these things. So I wasn't successful because of me. I was successful in spite of me. And it was a system that did that. Flaming enthusiasm backed up by common sense persistence is the quality that most frequently leads to success. And I would say you need to get a flaming enthusiasm for the 21-point checklist in these scripts. If you do that, you're going to lead to all sorts of success in 2024. Ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? Then prepare to accept it, and then improve on the worst. That's all I did creating the 21-point checklist system. What's the worst that can happen if I keep asking people questions? They can get mad at me for asking questions. Well, then I can say, okay, well, they got mad at me for that. How can I ask those questions better? And then I kept doing it over and over and over. So you guys don't have to do that. We've done that for you. Happiness is not governed by outside conditions. It is governed by your own mental attitude. Your own mental attitude. You are in charge of the way you approach life. To be interesting, be interested. It's always about the other person. And the 21-point checklist is always about what? What do I tell you? Should you ever talk about yourself in a 21-point checklist? No, he never talks about yourself. He never say, this is how I approach clients. This is what I do for my clients. This is how great an advisor I am. Oh, boy, I think it would be horrible if I ever did this. It's never me, me, me. It's never about me. It's always about them and their situation. Them and their situation. Some people have asked, have I consolidated these points? I think I have a sheet on my computer where I've put together not only these things, but a whole lot of the whole book, summarize the whole book in a 2-sheet process. Would anybody else want that if I gave it to Missy to print out, so you're going to have the whole book right there on a front and back? Okay, yeah, I'll get that to Missy, and Missy, you can post it with the call when I find that.
Yep, that would be just perfect.
Cool. Awesome. So that guys, please, 2 things. We're almost a third of the way through the month. Go back and learn the 21-point checklist. Go back and learn the FI presentation, and please read this book. And if you won't read the book, read the synopsis that will get posted with this call. Okay? Today, we're going to talk about the umbrella liability insurance. And this is the one place we're going to sell hard. This is the one place we're not going to ask questions. I'm going to tell, sell, preach, and teach. I'm going to make them convinced that I'm going to sell them an umbrella liability insurance. Why do I do that, guys? Why do I sell umbrella liability insurance hard so that they finally say, wow, he didn't sell me on the survivor's guide, he's a good guy. He didn't sell me on the will of trust, he's a good guy. He didn't sell me on the power of attorney, he's a good guy. He didn't sell me on the medical property quality of life, he's a good guy. He's here to help me. Identity theft, he didn't sell that, he gave it to me for free. He's here to help me. Umbrella light, wait a minute, he's selling hard. Oh, I knew it. I knew he was going to see a salesman. I knew he was going to try to sell me something right here. He's trying to sell me umbrella liability insurance. Why am I doing that? That's right, Nick, to shock them when I don't. Because then when I finally say, he's like, I knew he was going to try to sell me something. And I say, now, who's your car insurance with? 12 Allstate. Okay, that's who you're going to go back to, and you're going to ask them these questions and get the right umbrella insurance. And it shouldn't cost you more than $250. If it does, call me and I'll find some other property casualty agent that'll find it better. But, or you tell him that that's way too much, and he'll find a better, or she'll find a better way or a cheaper way to do that for you. So they think, geez, because then they misjudge me, haven't they? Because they're thinking, aha, I knew he was going to try to sell me. He's trying to sell me umbrella liability insurance. I knew it. And then when he finds that they find out that I'm not selling, they've misjudged me, haven't they? And when you misjudge somebody, what happens to your feelings about that person? You misjudge somebody for being a jerk, and then they say, Mister, you've dropped your wallet. Or you misjudge somebody for being homeless, and it ends up that no, they're just looking in the trash for something they accidentally threw in there. I mean, how do you feel when you misjudge somebody? How much room do you give that person? How much consideration do you give that person? How much do you make sure that person realizes that you are think they're a great person? More and more and more. And that's why I sell hard in the umbrella. So they'll misjudge me, think I'm trying to sell them something. And then I say, go back to your car insurance guy. And they're like, and then they think to themselves, geez, stop being so distrustful. Look at all these things he's doing for us for free. He's a good advisor. He's not a salesman. He's an advisor. He's giving us, just take a breath. He's actually here to help me. I just quit misjudging him. See, I have that conversation in my head. That's what they're having, that conversation in their head. Make sense? So how long does it take to save all your money? How quickly will that disappear if you're sued? Let's talk about a party. Somebody trips over a garden hose. What's the first thing out of their mouth? Even their friend, they're going to sue you. Now, obviously, they're not going to, but if a non-friend does that, they will sue you, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go through exactly how we do that. So let me get into the actual tape here. Okay. Can't get my thing going here.
No, your bank account's drained.
Exactly. So, again, if I just sold investments as an investment salesman, I could see. But if I'm a financial advisor, my job is to provide advice on what?
Making sure people keep the money that they have.
Right. And this is an example of that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. So, that's the identity theft plan.
So we'll go to the next thing we want to talk about, which is umbrella liability protection. So how long did it take for you guys to save for retirement? A couple years?
Oh, no, 40 plus years, I would say.
40 plus years. And if you're sued, how quickly could that money go bye-bye?
Oh, right away.
Right away. And the thing is that if we live in a society where if I have a party and somebody trips on a garden hose, they're going to laugh, but the first thing they're going to say is, I hope you have good what?
Good insurance.
Now, they're not going to sue me, but if that's the first thing that pops into the head of a friend of mine, what do you think is going to be the first thing that pops into the head to a stranger if I'm involved in any way that they can sue me for?
Well, they're going to think about suing you.
They're going to think about suing me. So we recommend all of our clients have is what we call an umbrella liability insurance, and that will protect you up to $1 million of lawsuit. And if you protected $1 million, guess what? It's going to be adequate, and here's why. Now, if you're sued and the insurance company is protecting you up to $1 million and you're paying $250 for that protection, who's got more at risk, your $250 or the insurance company with $1 million at stake?
No, the insurance company has more at stake.
So guess what kind of attorneys they have on staff? Good ones or bad ones when it comes to lawsuits?
Oh, I'm sure they have good ones.
And do you think they might even be better than the ones you could hire down the street?
I would think so.
And do you think you can hire the ones down the street for $250, or it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars to protect you in court if somebody sues you?
No, it's tens of thousands of dollars.
So do you see why this would make sense to have this as just I kind of look at it as prepaid legal, because whose attorneys are you using?
Theirs.
And good ones or bad ones?
Good ones.
In the worst case scenario, you're on the hook for what?
$250.
And they're on the hook for what?
$1 million.
So do you see why this would make sense to have this?
Yeah.
Now, who is your car insurance with?
We use State Farm.
State Farm. So you go back, this is attached to your car insurance. So you're going to go back to your State Farm agent,
Okay.
and you say, I'd like to look at umbrella liability insurance.
Okay.
Now, if it costs much more than $250, have him get a hold of me so I can figure out what's going on. Now, it might be a few dollars more, a few dollars less, but if it's significantly more, then have them contact me and I can figure out what's going on, because it really shouldn't cost any more than that. And State Farm, I'm pretty sure I've seen, is right near that number.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is your home insurance.
What did I not do there that I should have done? What did I not do there I should have done? What phrase did I not use that I should have used? What's the purpose of the umbrella script? To get them to get umbrella insurance? To realize, there you go, Ben's got it. Good job, Ben. What kind of advisor would I be if I didn't make sure? Now, I don't obviously sell this. I'm sending you back to your current property casualty, and he's not giving me some sort of, is he going to, I don't even know who he is, so how, is he going to give me a kickback if I don't even know who he is? No, so again, icky putsy, boring stuff, but why would I cover this? Well, yeah, so what kind of advisor would it be if I didn't cover this? I mean, I scratch my head sometimes too. Why am I trying to get you to buy, again, it's only $250 a year and it's well worth it, but why am I trying to get you to buy that when I don't even get anything from that? What kind of advisor would be if I didn't do that? Will you be a bad advisor? So that's what I didn't do. What kind of advisor would I be? Does that make sense, though? Got to do that. Got to do it. Now, here's the thing. With all the ones they've seen up to this point, how many times do I get them to say what kind of advisor would I be? How many times do I get them to say it? Once? Or 5, 6, 7 times? So when we look at the 20-point checklist, how many times did I get them to say I'd be a bad advisor if I didn't do the power of attorney, if I didn't do the medical property and quality life director, if I didn't do the identity theft? 5, 6, 7 times, 5, 6, 7 times, 5, 6, 7 times. So 5, 6, 7 times. So by the time you get to umbrella, I can afford not to do it because they've already said it 15, 20 times. But still, I should have done it maybe once. So you got to get them to say those things. Make sense? Coolio. Good. So I'll see about finding that summary, and please, please, please print it, put it in a plastic sleeve or laminate it, and look at that thing on a regular basis. Also, you should put what in front of you. I don't care if it's on your mirror or on the wall in front or on your monitor or on your wall. What are the 3 things, the 3 C's that you should have on there? Don't what? Criticize, condemn, or complain, and you're a long way to become a more likable person. Make sense? Coolio. Well, you guys have for everybody's going to be on the script call, we're going to start at the top of the hour. You guys have a fantastic rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.